What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we are going to get into the Pillow Talk Beautifying Blush and Highlighter Palette from this Charlotte Tilbury. So, and my dreams is dead boy. So this retails for, what is it? $75. And let's read what it says. Dreamy Pillow Talk palette with 2 blushes, 2 highlighters for eyes, cheek, and face. It says blush and glow with Pillow Talk. Each palette includes a soft blush, super glow, super blush, and multi-glow highlighter. So I have highlighters from her to swatch and compare to this. I have the first face palette she came out with when she came out with 2, and then y'all, this is Love Gasm, and then remember she came out with the one the next year. They didn't have one for my skin tone, just for lighter skin tone, and then I have the 3 holiday highlighters. And since this is, I'm assuming, part of her holiday collection, I figured I'd go ahead and show those. But I don't have anything on my face yet because I have a new primer I want to try out. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Control Mattifying Primer. Let me go get these highlighters real quick. I forgot and left them in the box. So this last one is a multi-glow. She says this is in the palette, so we'll swatch and see how it is to the other multi-glow. This is the Magic Star highlighter that she came out with, I think in 2020. It was 2020 or 2021. I want to say it's 2020. I'm not sure. And then of course we have the Hollywood Superstar Glow highlighter, the huge one that she put in the packaging like that. I haven't used that much of mine, but I've been using it all this week, believe it or not, except for when I brought it over here. So I used the majority of the week. Anyway, let me zoom in on you. Well, in fact, let's just go ahead and compare the blushes now as well, because I have some blushes to compare this blush to. I also have one of the eye quads. I probably should mention that. Y'all saw it in the Sephora haul, though. They went up Friday, so it's not like you don't know. Anyway, if you're not new. If you're new, welcome. But this is the Hypnotizing Pop Shot. I got the shade Cosmic Rocks, of course. Y'all know why. When you see the color, we know why. You'll know why immediately. This is the only color I was attracted to, just like with her little quads. The first quad I ever bought was super blue because it was what? Blue. So this is what the packaging looks like. It has nice little cute crystals on it and whatnot. So it just has some nice little jewels on it and whatnot. And the shade shifts from blue to purple. So I know you probably won't be able to see it, but I feel like when you turn it a certain way, maybe I'll turn it in the mirror and then you'll be able to see. But like, see here, it's blue, but when you look in the mirror, it's purple. So it has a blue to purple shift. Now I'm going to pair that with the super blue quad that I just talked about, because it has a nice dark blue matte in the back, and then I can use one of these as my crease shade. Obviously I'll probably use the champagne, not crease shade, my inner corner shade. I'll probably use the champagne. Only thing that sucks is I don't have a shade for my crease, but I might just go ahead and take a brown shade and put it in there. Now let's open the face palette and finally look at it. Here's what she looks like on the inside. I have the medium deep one, of course. There is a fair, a light, and then there's a medium deep. This is the medium deep one. That's the one I grabbed. I was gonna grab both, but then I saw that they weren't, you know, necessarily for both skin tones, which I figured she did what she originally did just to see, I guess, how it goes. And then, you know, if it doesn't go the way she feels it should go, then she's gonna go ahead and do like she did the next time and only make one. I don't know, because I don't go through with that, but yeah. So here's the original one I showed you. The first one I bought, it was $75. I didn't like the formula of this, like this bronzer, the way the product's picked up. But if I remember correctly, you have to use certain brushes in order to make it work. So it's kind of a finicky thing, and then it's like $75 on top of it. So, I mean, I guess that's okay though, because you're getting 4 things instead of 3 things. So it's not like you had to pay $25 a piece for each thing. It's a little less than $25, but I still feel like that's high considering since it's a face palette, you don't get as many things as you would get normally. And Natasha's is cheaper. So we're going to put it up against the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. Here's what they look like. See how similar they look? And I feel like Natasha's has a deeper tone in it, which would work better for someone my skin tone. But we'll see how these work. I know that first face palette, I was like, I was not impressed. The bronzer didn't bronze deep enough. I mean, I probably bronzed the medium people nicely, but you know, I'm not medium, so it wasn't giving what I needed. And then the contour one wouldn't like help it make it deeper because it's not that deep in my personal opinion. So I'm trying to go through the stuff on the face palette first, then I'll go through the couple of singles I have for the eye quad. Last face palettes I have are the ones from Jaclyn Cosmetics. So I have the pink one and the orange one, but I'm gonna show the orange one since that's the one that I feel like matches this one the best. So here is what Jaclyn's palette looks like alongside this palette. Jacqueline's you get more products. The only thing is Jacqueline's palette, it's literally just a blush palette, so there are no highlighters. Whereas this is a blush and highlighter palette. But as you can see, the tones are pretty similar. So if you have Jacqueline's palette, or if you caught it for 50% off when I posted about Morphe having 50% off, because since she sold on their website, obviously, you know, hers is on there. I kind of want to do a battle of love with a whole bunch of stuff, just because I have so much stuff. Let's go to the eye quads and show those off first. I know I have Teal Me More from, what's that brand? Dose of Colors. I remember when it first came out, it was the shade I had to have. Y'all know why. It has the same kind of shift as this one does. If you can see right there in the mirror. Or maybe you can see it's blue right there. But it does shift to purple. I don't know if it's being seen in the mirror that well because this shade is so deep. And this one's lighter. So that's what both of them look like. It's hard to see the Dose of Color one, but they're the same shifting shade. It's just the Dose of Color one seems to have a deeper base to it. So I want to see how the texture is going to feel alongside each other. But once I put it on my eye, we will swatch them then. So I'm not going to worry about it right this second. And then I have this one from Lime Crime and Majestic. Now, I don't think that this one is necessarily a dupe just because I feel like this is more deeper blue and has more of a purple base than a blue base. But I figured I'd show both of them since I had both of them. And again, there you can see it's purple in the mirror. So there are those two. Now I'll zoom y'all on in, and then I'll do swatches of the face palette when we get to that, and I might swatch the Jacqueline one as well. I need to swatch all the highlighters alongside each other. But let's put some makeup on the face in order to be able to do the rest of this video, girl. I have no foundation on my face at all. None. Because like I told you, I'm going to try out this primer. So, let's get to it. I'll put on this primer, and I have my trusty, Mented Beauty stick. My Mented Beauty Minimalist stick. I love using the thing. I'm interested to see how all these new Smashbox primers are going to work. I just sucks that they got rid of my oil and shine. I'm disappointed about that, because that was like one of my favorite go-to primers from them. I was never into their really silicone based primers. I didn't like them. I don't like silicone based primers, but I really liked that oil and shine control one. So I'm mourning the loss of that, but I do have a full size that I got during, I believe it was 21 Days of Beauty when it was 50% off. So I really like the samples I had gotten. So hopefully I can, this feels similar to Smooth and Collagen one I tried from Cali Gray today. It's not as smooth though, but the fact that this will be mattifying, it is actually quite smooth, and when you put it on the skin, feels nice. It is a nice thin formula, but I can definitely feel it getting matte on the face. So there's that. I'm gonna just put the foundation stick over real quick, then I'll go off camera and do my concealer and my bronzer, and then I will come back to you all and we will get into the foundation. I mean, we'll get into the palette portion of this video, and then we'll do the eyes last. But I am gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury concealer. I have the shade 13 in this room just to put on. If anyone's curious, I don't know what bronzer I'm going to use. I'm thinking I'm going to use the old Huda Beauty one. Y'all, I wish these two bumps would go away, because like every time I go to put on anything, it's a hassle and they hurt like hell. I tried the new clarifying face mask from, who do you call them today? From Tatcha in the video that I showed you all, the haul. So I'm interested to see what I use it 2-3 times a week, like it says, how it's going to improve on my skin. And then we're going to take the Mented Beauty #1 brush. Remember I told y'all this is an excellent dupe for the Referee foundation brush. I forgot the name of it. I think it's number 21. Don't quote me, but I feel like it's a great dupe for that brush. It's not as scratchy, but I feel like it blends out foundation just as nice and smooth. Like, look how gorgeous my face looks now with this foundation. Mented is definitely giving. Only thing is, because Mented is more minimalist, I do have to put on a little bit more than I normally would, because I just showed y'all the acne. Y'all know I have dark spots on my face as well, because I'm the person who pops the bumps. Like, I'm so tempted to pop these, and I probably will at the end of the night, even though I shouldn't. But you know, I know me, so I'm most likely going to. And then there'll be new dark spots for foundation to have to cover up some more. I've tried to calm down with foundation though and just use a little bit of, you know, concealer, but as we see, the foundation went on smoothly. I don't have a whole bunch of oil peeking through and stuff like I normally do when I use smoothing primers as opposed to mattifying primers. So I'd say it's doing a good job of mattifying, especially since I'm sitting in under these hot lights, and I have on a sweatshirt, and then I have on the heat on top of that. So I say the primer is working pretty well. Now I'm not gonna have it on for that long, so I have to keep y'all updated on the primer if anybody most likely cares. It'll be in a complexion corner in the future though, because obviously I'm gonna use this more. I just want to try it out on camera with you all for the first time. Now let me go off camera, put on my concealer and bronzer, and then we'll come back and get into this face palette and the swatches and the eye quad and my final thoughts on this whole little collection. So I'll be right back. So I've returned with my face on. Let's get to swatching these palettes. So I'm talking about these palettes like some more than one. So let me swatch these blushes. I want to swatch a couple of them against the Jacqueline one just to see if the colors are going to be similar enough, since I told y'all that. And then these highlighters up against the Natasha one, since I feel like the colors of those are similar. So I guess I'll start off with the highlighter so we can get Natasha out the way, because it's the only highlighter with her. Yep, y'all, I feel like we have a main chick side chick moment, because these highlighters look real simple. And Natasha's don't cost as much as Charlotte's does. I don't know. I don't know, girl. So the first swatches are from from Natasha. And the second ones are from Charlotte. And I feel like Charlotte's packing more of a punch, but it could because Charlotte's isn't a gelée, Natasha's isn't a gelée formula like Charlotte's. But these colors are looking pretty damn similar. So here is the highlighter in the palette. So like I told y'all, the first swatch is Natasha. So this is Natasha and this is Natasha, and those two are Charlotte. But see how close the first two are? This one seems to lean a little bit more orangey, orangey pink, whereas this one just seems to put a little more reddish pink. But I feel like they look pretty damn similar. So I mean, if you're going for the highlighters and you already own Natasha's palette, maybe you should just stick with Natasha's palette. We're gonna get into the powders now when it comes to the blushes, and then I should probably go ahead and swatch Charlotte's last. So give me a minute. The blushes last, but I still got the highlighter on my hand. I need to swatch all of her highlighters as well. So let's get into that. So I'm gonna swatch, what does that say? Magic what? Magic Star. I'm going to swatch right here. So this one is Magic Star. Remember, this is the Charlotte Tilbury and this is the Charlotte Tilbury. So it's this Charlotte, that Charlotte, and that Charlotte. Then I'm going to swatch the newest one she came out with, which is, what is the name of mine? Dreamlight. So Dreamlight was the one she made for deeper, medium to deep skin tones. Let's swatch it in front of the second highlighter, because I think the second one is really supposed to be the multi-glow highlighter, just like this is a multi-glow. So I want to see how it is. Now the only difference is you have swatched both those together. But I swatched it, as you can see, I swatched toward the middle of the palette, and it looks really similar toward the one that's right here. But when you mix all these together, it might change. But just swatching in the middle with the three shades, I feel like it looks really similar to the shade that's in this palette. So that might be something you want to keep in mind. So far, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 Charlotte Tilbury. This is Dreamlight. This is Magic Star. And these are the two from the face palette. I only have one more to swatch. It's the giant one, the Hollywood Superstar Glow. So let's swatch that one real quick, and then we see how all the highlighters look together. Then I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe my hand, and then we'll get into the other one. So this is the Hollywood Glow. So this is Hollywood Glow. It looks really similar to the first one, along with this one being a little more golden than the first one in the face palette. This is the second one in the face palette, and that shade Dreamlight looks really similar. So a lot of the highlighters are looking pretty similar in my personal opinion. You can let me know what you think, but you know, this might be one of the 5 brands to dupe themselves, honey, because these highlighters look a little too similar. And the fact that you just came out with that one this year and then it's supposed to be exactly like this one, I'm like, I don't know, girl. Do I really need this face palette other than to try the more blushes? Because I think I only have one blush from her. I forgot the name. I think it's I forgot the name of it. I've told y'all about it in the past. I just genuinely don't remember what the name of it is. Let's get out this palette now and swatch these blushes. So I'm gonna swatch the two I feel like look closest to this one. The only thing is the peachy tone one. Well, I'm gonna do Jacqueline's first. So I'm doing Pretty Posh and Ever After up against the two Pillow Talk ones. So this is Pretty Posh. And it's looking a little ashy there. I had one other one I wanted to do, so I guess I'll do it too. It's Tempting. Even though I feel like it's a little deeper. That's tempting. And then I'll do the pillow talk on it itself. Let's see how that goes. I'm trying not to rub off the actual words pillow talk. And now I'm going to swatch the shade Ever After from Jacqueline. So the first two are from Jacqueline and the third one will be from Charlotte Tilbury, and then the very last one will be from Charlotte Tilbury. So let's see how these are looking on my skin tone. Ooh, that last one coming up there very. It's the deepest one in the pan, but because they're gelée baked, I'm trying to give it a break as far as that goes. Wow, this looks close to that Ever After shade. I'm sorry, that Tempting shade that I swatched in the first shade. Let me go ahead and swatch that back here and see if we can see a difference. Okay, so here are all the highlighters. I mean, all the blushes. So this is the shade Pretty Posh. This is the shade Tempting. And then this is the first shade from Charlotte's palette. This is the shade Ever After. This is from Charlotte's palette. And then this is the shade Tempting from the Jacqueline palette, because it looked similar to me in the pan. So I feel like this one actually looks similar more than this one. This one has a little more red in it than Charlotte's does. But as you can see, the shades are dupable because Pretty Posh from Jacqueline looks just like the shade from the Charlotte Tilbury one. And then the shade Tempting looks really similar to this shade. So it's like, these are the two shades I swatched. I swatched this shade and I swatched this shade. And they're really similar to the ones that's in the palette we're about to put on my face right now. So I'm thinking we might need to do a battle with these, because I'm like, if they the same and then the highlighters in the Natasha palette the same, if you have both those palettes, you don't need this palette. Save your $75, save your $60 when the sale comes. You save it, girl, because, you know, again, if you have the individual highlighter, you already have that same formula from Charlotte and this. So I'm seeing a lot of repeats, and I don't know that I can necessarily say that you need to buy this palette. Did I bring my brushes in here? Yes, I did. I was responsible, don't involve them in. Okay, so let's start with the blushes now. So I'm starting off with the shade, the one that has Pillow Talk written on it is called a soft blush. And then this one is a super blush. So this is the soft blush, this is the super blush, this is the super glow, and this is the multi glow at the bottom. I can tell by the formula it was the multi glow though, because this one seems a little bit more glittery, if you will. Anyway, let's put on the Pillow Talk blush instead of just talking, because I know what you came here for, and I've been sitting here for like a good 15 minutes and haven't put any blush on. I'm surprised y'all clicked out the video like, look girl, just put on the blush. We need to see it. Like, sorry, I try to be thorough, give y'all information before I start putting stuff on my face, because you could already have a dupe for it and you need to watch me put it on my face, because you know you don't need it. Like, you got the Jacqueline one, you got the multi glow individual highlighter, and then you got Natasha's Bloom palette, which I feel like everybody has Natasha's Bloom palette, especially when it went on sale at Sephora. I like the color of this though. But again, it's swatched really similar to the other one. Now, again, we can do a battle of love where I battle a few things and include this blush palette with Jacqueline's blush palette. And then just put on Natasha's highlighters to show that if you have those two palettes, you already have this palette. We could do that, girl. It's fine with me. You can comment down below though, because like I said, gas going up to $5 a gallon again. I'm trying to save y'all the point. So I like it. It's a nice little cute, soft, subtle blush. It's kind of giving me the vibes of the Patrick Ta one I did today with the Patrick Ta palette. I had that on earlier today. I actually went home, showered, took all my makeup off because I knew this was coming today. And I wanted to make sure that my face was clean and fresh tonight instead of having, you know, the greasy, crazy, I've been wearing makeup all day face. I fell asleep on my couch. But, you know, this video needs to go up in a timely fashion. And they always want to send stuff on a Saturday. So I'm trying to dig in as much as I can with this brush to build up before I start trying to put it on my face. Okay, so it's not giving that much, but it's that gelée formula, and I'm not using a natural hair brush. I don't think I have any natural hair brushes here in my grandma's house, so it's just going to take me longer to have to build it up. My apologies. I did not come prepared, but it's been so long since I used one of her face palettes, because remember the last one she came out with, I couldn't use it. But I like this color as well. I'd probably wear this color more though, because you got to think about it. I'm not going to have to build this one up as much as I have to build this one up. But it looks nice, you know. I want a nice little soft, subtle blush moment. I would probably go more for this one. If I want an everyday blush, obviously this would be it because of my skin tone. It won't take as much time to build up and it looks just as nice. So both of them look nice. I never said they weren't going to look nice. It's just, I feel like I can get the same look with the ones from the Jaclyn palette and I can just use the multi-glow highlighter I already have individually here. Or I can use the Tasha Denona Bloom palette and get some highlighters out there and go on my day if I don't want to feel like using cream blush. But I actually feel like it would be good to use the cream blushes in hers to enhance, or this cream blush right here to enhance the shade that I want to use in this palette. So this probably be a good like palette mashup for me, face edition, just because I can use the cream from Natasha to build up the pigmentation, then I won't have to build up this as much. So I'm definitely going to try that out tomorrow and see how that works. So as far as highlighters go, I want to put the multi-glow one down the middle of my face, and then I want to put the super glow on the sides because I feel like it'll give show up more. And when I'm turning my head and trying to do eyelids and stuff, I prefer to have like a beaming highlighter there. I don't necessarily need a beaming highlighter down the middle of my face. Plus it gives me a good idea of how I can use both the products, and then you can see. So I always try to do that when I'm doing reviews. I try to make sure I use the subtle one in the middle of my face and then the sparkly one on the side. That's just a me thing though. You don't actually have to do that. As you can see, you can barely see it on my face. Now you saw me build it up, put all that on, and you hardly see any glow on my face. So the Super Glow highlighter is definitely a glow from within type highlighter because it's not giving a whole lot of pigmentation, just off me putting it on. Now let's get into the other highlighter. So I have another brush for the Super Glow. And I can see the glitter particles popping up as I brush it. So let's see how it's looking. Oh yeah, definitely a more blinding one, if you will, because I see glitter particles and I see a lot of sparkle. Can y'all see that sparkle? Yeah, definitely. So this is definitely the more sparkly of the two, like I thought. So I made the right decision putting it on. I figured it would be because anytime I saw Super Glow and I already knew what the formula like of the multi glow was, it was that softer formula that works best. So now that we have all this done, I'm gonna go off camera, do the super blue eye real quick, and zoom in real quick and cute light. Oh, I already have. And then I will come back and we'll put the shimmer on the lid. And then we'll talk about my thoughts of this collection as a whole. But I've kind of given you a little hint, at least when it comes to the face palette. Be right back, girl. Okay, y'all, so I did both my eyes just to save time. I just used the super blue palette like I told you. But let's get into this Cosmic Rock shade. Seems to be awfully soft and sparkly. It's not giving anything special or crazy, if you will. I'm going to swatch it against the one I told you about in a few minutes, the Dose of Colors. When I'm giving my final thoughts, I'll swatch it then, but I want to be able to get it on the eyes now because I know it took longer than usual because I did the primer and then I did all the swatch comparisons toward the end before I put on the palette instead of in the front like I normally do. So I figured we could save some time here by me already having like the eyes done. The brown in my crease honestly is from the Empowered palette. I had did the Empowered palette video. That was the last video I did before I left here. So I figured I'd go ahead and just use the dirty brush and get all the brown off of it so that way I didn't have to try to pull the brown out of my collection in order to put it into the crease, because since that only had a brown shimmery shade, obviously I don't want to use that in my crease, so I ended up having to, you know, just go ahead and use that so I'd have something for a crease, because they literally only give you an outer V shade and some shimmers to work with. Now I can see the blue to purple shift. I don't know if you all can, but sitting here looking in the mirror, I can definitely see it. Can y'all see it? Doesn't look like it, but I definitely can. Hopefully you'll see it when I swatch it on my hands and move my hands around, but this is what the eyes are looking like. I think they look nice. Where's my Dulce's Colors shadow? I can't say it. No, I didn't put it away yet. Or did I? Yeah, I swear when I be sitting here, everything just be disappearing. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to use one of the, oh, this is definitely a smooth, more wet looking shade. Y'all seriously, where did the shade go? I'm starting to think I did put it back in the bag. I didn't mean to though. Let's take the champagne shade and put it in my inner corner real quick, and then I will go to my bag and drag it out and find that brush. All the brushes are just, oh, here it is, it's turned back. So I'm gonna take the champagne shade, pop that in my inner corner real quick, because I feel weird not having an inner corner shade. It's more of a satin type shade, so it's not giving a lot, but I feel like her eyeshadows are known for not giving a lot of pop or shimmer and sparkle. So this is just a wet looking single I put on my lid that costs a grip, because I think this is like 30 some odd dollars. I caught mine on sale at Saks Fifth Avenue sale for like, I think 15% off, so that's how I ended up with it. Yeah, I did put it back in the bag. Okay, so those color shade, we're gonna swatch that, and then we're gonna talk about my thoughts about all this stuff. But I want y'all to see, it's just like a deeper version of that shade. So here, as you can see, I feel like you can see the blue and purple, and the dose of colors went over this one though. Cause see, when I turn my, well, I guess you can see the purple when I turn my hand like that, right? And then I turn my hand like this, and you can see the blue. So I feel like Charlotte Tilbury definitely has a lighter purple shift to it, as opposed to the Dose of Colors Tell Me More one. But you know, they're similar enough to where I feel like, I guess it depends on what finish you want, because the Dose of Colors one is definitely going to give you a more glittery finish, where Charlotte's going to give you more of that wet foiled metallic lid look. So we back you on up. We're going to talk about what I thought about this whole collection. I know, right, I didn't even put on a lip, but hey, you know, I'll do that for the next video, which is the Dior quads, because somebody said they were excited to see that, so I need to make sure I do that tonight. So my thoughts on this collection as a whole so far, since she hasn't given us an eyeshadow palette yet. I figure one's coming, I don't know. It's kind of late though, so it might not be. She might be doing like Mother and put it all out separately. But it's like, as far as I know, she doesn't sell bundles, so I don't see why, you know, that would be a thing. I have no idea. But anyway, I like the blush palette. My only thing is, I feel like I duped everything in the blush palette with stuff I already have in my collection. Like, I feel like these two palettes equal this palette. And I feel like both these palettes were cheaper than this palette, or about the same price as this palette. And you can always get Jacqueline stuff for 50% off on Morphe's page eventually. And this palette goes on sale pretty often. So I feel like this isn't necessarily a need for me. I'm going to keep it. I'm glad I have it in my collection. But I'm not going to tell you to rush out and buy it if you have the two things I just showed you. Because y'all saw, the swatches of them were pretty much the same. And if you were just more interested in the highlighter, you can get this multi-glow highlighter. It'll be the same highlighter. I don't know, I guess I'm just not as impressed with this as I was hoping to be. I do really like the blushes in here, but again, if I can get simpler tones and something that I already have, y'all know I'm fine with that. When it comes to the eyeshadow, it's a nice wet foil looking shade, but for the price point, I feel like it's too high for what it is, because the Dose of Colors one is only 20 bucks, and let's see how much you get in here. 0.07 ounces, and in Charlotte's, you get 0.04 ounces, so you get more in here, and it's less. This is 34 and this is 20. So again, it's just stuff that I already have that I don't feel like I needed to get any of this. I just wanted to give you all a review on it. Plus, it's not I don't like Charlotte. I like her face products a lot of the time. I will say though, I like this eyeshadow better than I expected. I thought it was gonna be like those what is it, the Luxe palette of Pops or whatever. I thought it was gonna be like that formula, and I do not like that formula. I don't feel like she does a good job with that one. I hear those are hit and miss. But I feel like a lot of her quads are hit and miss too, from what I've heard from Morgan Turner. So I didn't know what I was expecting going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised by the shadow. I just think the price point is too high for it, considering you can get dual chromes and multi-chromes and trio chromes from indie brands for less, or about the same amount, and you'd get more product than that. At least I believe so. So to me, this collection is kind of overrated. I had everything in it and easily duped it out. So take that and make it what you will. I'm not saying don't get it. I'm just saying if you're gonna get it, I'd say get all these things on sale. Don't pay regular price for them, because if you have the things that I just showed you, or if you have any indie dual chrome, multi-chrome shadows, you just don't need the eyeshadow. And you don't necessarily need the face palette if you have Jacqueline's face palette, or if you have Natasha's Bloom palette, because as you saw, both the colors look similar. I swatched everything. Everything looks pretty much the same. The only thing is you have cream blushes in Natasha's, and you have powder blushes in Charlotte's. So just depends on what method you prefer, which one you should get. But those are my thoughts on the collection. All the stuff worked fine, performed fine. It's not a performance thing. It's more of a I can dupe it out of my collection thing, so it's not really a necessity. And those are the things I try to keep in mind when I'm showing it to you. So that's why I'm making that part a point. But it's not to say any of her stuff is bad. All of it worked nicely. All of it did a good job like I was hoping it would. It's just all duplicable things for me. So those are my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye. Oh, by the way, I didn't finish setting my face. So let's set our face with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. Now I put the highlighters and blush on my face. Okay, now it's bye, girl. Bye.